And now we have the wonderful Jessalyn.
Hi.
Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Just for people that don't know you, if you could give us a little introduction to who you are and who's your friend.
My name is Jessalyn Randall, and I am a carnivore content creator, I guess you could say. And so I just make a bunch of silly videos about how I eat lots of meat and animal products, and I'm currently pregnant too. And this is my little puppy Rambo.
Oh, look at that. Oh, but anyway, I'm so pleased that you came back. Do you remember Jessalyn from last year, Rick?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that 12 months has come and gone incredibly quickly, and here we are again fighting for survival. But 2 hours to go, so the finishing line is in sight. Thankfully,
Yeah. I think once Jessalyn's gone, we'll pretend we did the last hour and just shut down.
Yeah.
But you look very glowing, don't you? Why are you glowing so much, do you think?
Well, I guess maybe because I'm pregnant and I'm
Yeah.
currently outside and I live in Okinawa and it's summertime here in Okinawa, so it is super hot. And so I'm getting a lot of sun too, so that's helping. So a mixture of diet and sunshine and pregnancy.
Well, I'm just so pleased you're here because you said you might not be able to make it because you didn't know when you were due, I think, when we first booked it. Anyway, you're here, so that's good.
I have 1 month left. Yeah, 1 month left.
Yeah. Excellent. Right.
Of how far along I am. When I go to the doctor's office, they always ask me how far along I am, and I'm like, don't you guys know? Like, aren't you guys keeping track?
So I'm going to ask you sort of like quite a contentious issue because your Instagram is full of people who think you're doing a terrible thing eating carnivore when you're pregnant. So how are you coping with the comments?
Um, I'm fine with those comments because it's like they're not true, so they don't bug you.
Hmm.
So yeah, it doesn't make sense because what do you want me to eat? Like, you want me to eat plants and what's the alternative to eating meat? Eating a ton of plants, mostly plant-based diet, which processed plant-based diets is mostly what people eat in standard American diets. And look how healthy they are. And we know that meat is more bioavailable, more nutrient dense, and we evolved eating meat. So why would I want to eat more food that is less nutrient dense, less bioavailable? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. Because we had Dr. Sabrina Salt on earlier on, obviously, and she gave birth at home. So are you going to follow that trend?
no, because I'm in Okinawa, so I don't really feel comfortable doing that here.
Yeah.
And I'm just military. I'm here with my husband is military, so that's why we're here. And I'm just gonna go to a military hospital that's on base, so I don't have to deal with like whatever comes with giving birth not on U.S. territory. I don't know if they'd probably just say it's still like U.S. territory if I gave birth here. But I'm just gonna go to the military hospital and do it there. I'm not super. I totally would if I could, or if I was in the United States, I'd do like a home birth or like, oh, excuse you, or go to like one of those cool centers where that makes it feel like home. But I'm not gonna stress too much about it. Like, the baby's gonna come out when he wants to come out, so I'm not stressed too much about where it happens.
So how has your palate changed? I mean, how much more are you eating, and are you eating different things now? Are you getting those cravings for different stuff?
No, so no weird cravings. Pregnant women always have super weird cravings, and it's usually for like junk food. Nothing like that. My cravings have been normal, like how I craved things before I got pregnant. Like, I would just say, "Oh, chicken wings sound good tonight," or "Burgers sound good tonight." Steak sounds good tonight. That's basically the extent of my cravings. I just Different things sound good on different nights. But my appetite has definitely changed throughout my pregnancy. My first trimester, I was ravenously hungry. Sorry if you hear the helicopter that's above me. We're by the Air Force base. But I was ravenous and I could not get enough food, and I was eating tons of eggs and dairy and red meat and things like that. And my tummy was smaller, so I could eat a lot of food. And then my second trimester, it was like I was not hungry at all, and my appetite like went way down. So I went back to eating like 2 meals a day, like just making sure it was enough, but back to 2 meals a day. And then now in my third trimester, I'm like getting ravenously hungry again, which I think is interesting because women usually say they eat less in their third trimester because their tummy gets so big. But my tummy is getting bigger, so I eat a lot of like really small meals. But like I'll eat a small meal, and then an hour later I'm like ravenously hungry again, and I'll eat again. So it's gone like up and down, and I just have been going with the flow with it.
Fabulous. And you're hydrating, obviously. Is that with electrolytes?
Yeah, I have electrolytes in here. The just Redmond Relight electrolytes, the lemon lime flavor.
All right. Richard, come on. You've been very quiet. Do you have any questions?
I was just curious, Jessalyn, how you gravitated into the lifestyle. Was there any trigger in particular that that pulled you into this way of living, or was it just by chance? What was the catalyst for you?
Well, I think by chance, because it was chance that I happened to come across it. I wasn't looking for it. My husband actually found Carnivore through the Joe Rogan Sean Baker podcast because he likes Joe Rogan, and he listened to that episode, and it sounded like a lot of things that I was dealing with and I could relate to. And he said, "Hey, just listen to this. If you want to do it, I'll do it with you, and we'll see what happens." So that's kind of how I started. But the health issues that I had that he thought this diet would help a lot with was chronic constipation. I was constipated for like 20 years of my life, going to the bathroom once every couple of weeks. So it was like weeks in between. It was awful. And then because of that, I was always constantly bloated. I struggled with my weight. I was always like really overweight as a kid. And I had really bad acne, really bad immune system. I was sick all the time. My gut was just horrible. And mental health issues. I don't want to say mental health issues. Makes it seem really, because I was never diagnosed with anything, but I struggled with my mental health. Let's say it that way. And Sean Baker touched on a lot of those things when he was talking to Joe, and it sounded like it could help me. So I tried it. World Carnivore Month, January 2020, and my husband tried it with me, and I lost 20 pounds. My skin started to clear up. It was like the first time that since I could remember, that I was having normal bowel movements, and my mental health started to improve. So I just stuck with it. I was on board after that first month, and things just kept getting better and better. And now I'm pregnant.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, incredible journey. Steve, are you okay to hold the fort while I visit the little boys' room very quickly?
Yes.
It's yeah, there we are. I think we're in the final 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold it for another 2 hours. So apologies, I will be back in 2 seconds. I'm
That's
sure
all right.
Steve,
You don't need to rush.
I will be as quick as I can.
Yeah, it's been quite a different. Last year, Jessalyn, we found it relatively easy to do this 24-hour thing. And both of us this year have really struggled, actually. We've had moments. I struggled at the 6th hour. I just suddenly thought, because I was going to fast, you know how you're sort of kind of all blasé about food now, not obviously when you're pregnant, you're probably hungry, but, you can take or leave food. It's not the be all and end all. So I was thinking, I'll just fast, be a piece of cake, easy. And I got to the 6th hour, we had a guest come on, and I was like, wow, I am so hungry. And I'd given up coffee as well about 2-3 weeks ago. And that I collapsed, but I was honest on air. I said, I'd given up coffee. I'm going to have a couple to get me through this 24-hour thing. So, but I think people have forgiven me.
But if you had people come bring you food or how that worked.
Well, last year, a few people didn't get that we were actually going to do 24 hours. I remember Lily Kane just thought, it was going to be 24 hours, but Rich was going to do 12 hours. I was going to do 12. So, we're both at home. And, my wife just made me some sort of like little bits and bobs, like a little bit of chicken and a little bit of ham, some cheese. Rambo is lovely. My dog wants, it's funny what you sort of forget about in your house, what you take for granted, because my dog's not sitting there for 24 hours. And he's like, well, I want to see you. And it's so sweet. So sweet.
I couldn't go 24 hours without seeing him. Well, obviously I could, but I wouldn't want to. It would break his little heart. He's so, has like separation anxiety, which is probably my fault because I've been too close to him for too long. But yeah, it breaks my heart every time I have to leave the house and leave him, and he just cries.
Yeah. Is he a raw carnivore dog?
No, we get these little dried jerky things that are it's like 93% meat and then 7% plant, whatever dog plants they can eat. So he's not 100% carnivore. We sometimes will just feed him ground beef, and then he'll kind of get tired of it, and then we'll do the jerkies, and then when he gets kind of like over that, we'll go back to ground beef. So we just kind of rotate through stuff. But yeah, right now he's on the jerkies. They have beef and some type of fish and chicken.
Wait, very sweet. How long have you had him?
He is 6 months old now. So about almost 6 months, because we got him when he was really young.
It's lovely that he keeps jumping into shot. The audio podcast, people just think I'm a mad person because I just keep laughing, but he is very, very funny and very sweet. So,
he likes attention like all puppies do.
Yeah, well, yeah, but look at him. He's lovely. So just going back to what you're eating at the moment then. So you didn't have any sort of major changes when you went pregnant. You didn't suddenly hate beef and love lamb or anything like that.
No, I don't think I've actually had any lamb since being pregnant, which is interesting. I wonder how I would like it, because I really liked it before, but it's one of those things where you have to, it's an acquired taste, I feel like, especially for Americans who don't eat a lot of lamb. But the biggest difference that I made when I found out that I was pregnant is I kind of took the pressure off myself to be super, super strict, because I just wanted to enjoy just being pregnant and not have to worry about adhering to these like super strict dietary guidelines of carnivore. So I started using like hot sauce and salsa and condiments like mustard and like putting pickles in my food. And what else? Like the electrolytes, the flavored electrolytes, or the flavored carnivore bar, flavored protein powder. So I've added that stuff in when I just need a little bit something different. But other than that, nothing really drastic. It's still mostly meat and animal products, but with more seasonings and more flavor. So that's the biggest difference that I made, is I just kind of took that stress off myself of like staying super strict and being super strict carnivore.
Well, you've never really been one to go by rules anyway, have you? Just quite a free spirit. But yeah.
We definitely don't like the dogma. And if I can be a little bit of a rebel, I will.
Yeah. So when the baby's born, you'll just breastfeed, you'll keep away from formula and all that. Just do it as natural as possible.
Yeah, that's my goal, is to just breastfeed. And just breastfeed as long as possible. I've seen different videos like I forgot her name. But she talks about how babies shouldn't be eating food until they're like a year old, like whole food until they're a year old. But I don't know how long I'll be able to breastfeed, because isn't it different? I haven't researched this a lot. Maybe I should, but isn't it different for different women of how long they can breastfeed? Like sometimes it just like stops. I don't know exactly how it works, but yeah, I'm gonna try to breastfeed as long as possible and just kind of go with the flow like I usually do and see what happens.
Yeah.
And then obviously first food's gonna be like animal-based foods. Nothing store-bought or anything like that. Because have you seen that thing where it says that it's now illegal in the US to sell baby formula that doesn't have like seed oils and stuff in it?
Yes, yes. I thought that might be a parody at first, but yes, that
Yeah.
it.
Like it's illegal to not have
I mean,
that's insane. I didn't fact check that, but I saw it on the someone who I trust, a content creator that I trust. So I'm assuming they are correct, but that's insane to me.
yeah. I don't think Richard heard that because I was. If he had, he would have been quite surprised that baby formula in America, they're making it illegal to not have seed oils in. Yeah,
Scary.
that's that. Yeah, that's the reaction I was expecting. Yeah,
Incredibly scary.
yeah. You must have poison in it. And
Yeah.
do you know what? When you talk about baby formula, and I've coached people that the wife's pregnant or whatever, and then the worst situation I had was their baby wasn't exhibiting everything that they wanted, and I said, look, just take him off the formula, and you'll be fine. And I'm like, oh, my mum's saying that. I'm like, well, listen to your mum, really listen to your mum. And then we got the formula out, and he said, it can't be that bad, can it? And that, I just went through the ingredients, and he looked at me and he said, we're feeding that to our baby. I said, you should have done that without me telling you. You should have looked at it. Yeah, let's get rid of the formula.
I think it's interesting. My very first appointment when after I found out that I was pregnant, they sent me home with a paper. The doctor or the OB or whoever it was, she verbally told me like foods to avoid, and then they gave me a paper, and it was like certain things were highlighted, and it was just like like she kept saying it, and it was like red meat, eggs, deli meat, sushi, things like that, and not once did she say anything about limiting or avoiding ultra processed junk, and it's just so backwards.
Yeah.
I like things I didn't avoid during my pregnancy, like egg yolks, medium rare steaks, things like that. But definitely ultra processed junk. And then after the appointment, she said, "Are you guys gonna go and celebrate with some ice cream?" So it was not only did I not get verbally spoken to or a paper with any sort of ultra processed food on it, but then I was encouraged afterward to go and celebrate with ultra processed food. And then you wonder why women have all these like weird cravings and like pregnancy face and stuff. I don't know if you've seen that. I don't know if that's a new phenomenon or what, but apparently a lot of women now when they get pregnant have like pregnancy nose and pregnancy face, and their face just turns completely different. And it's scary. So, like some of the differences are really drastic and really intense. And then like the bloating and the swelling and stuff. I don't have any like ankle swelling, or all my jewelry still fits. My face isn't any different. I've gained weight, obviously, but that's about it. So it's so interesting how
It is, yes.
everything is.
Yeah, and a couple of things you said there, I could talk about that, but then we'll get taken off YouTube. So, but it's very backward, and it's really frustrating because it's just basic common sense, isn't it? When you pull back and say what you just said, they're telling me not to eat eggs, but knock yourself out of ice cream. That's fine. It is so obviously backward, but people are just accepting because they've got the white coats, the stethoscopes, or whatever they've got, and so many people just don't question and don't look at it like that. But it's really fun.
Yeah, they talk with so much confidence too. Like when I was at one of my appointments, they had the anesthesiologist come in and talk to me and basically do the whole rundown of what would happen if I got an epidural or needed a C-section. and I had to sign a paper saying that he spoke with me and explained everything. But I don't want I want to do a natural birth. So I was listening to him, but not really listening to him because I wasn't really interested in what he was telling me. But they speak with so much confidence, and they speak so fast, and they're just it makes sense how women can feel pressured to do certain things or feel like it's a really good idea because they're kind of like salesmen. And you feel like talked into, oh yeah, this sounds like a good idea the way you're saying it. That's an important reason why I guess it's important for us to like share these things and help educate people so you can go in feeling confident about your decisions. Because if you run into a doctor that's really confident and a good salesman, you'll start second guessing what you think you know, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And I was so glad that you have made it because the question comes up at least once a week within coaching or our live question and answers. Oh, my baby or my 3-year-old, is carnivore going to be okay? Is keto going to be okay? And you want to say, just send me a list of the things you're currently feeding your child and tell me which one of those is actually better than an egg. Just tell me that. And there won't be anything because they're just feeding, cereals and packaged processed stuff and ready meals. And it's very disheartening that, I'm not getting more of those questions because then, more people are questioning. And, if what you feed your children is just so important. It's just, it forms that human for the rest of their life. I always am very conscious about my teeth because my mother and father really didn't do the red meat, didn't do fat, did skim milk and all that sort of stuff. Well, my teeth are terrible, absolutely atrocious, because I didn't have any protein when I was growing up. I didn't, and it's tiny, I've got a tiny jaw, all the things that people like Dr. Kevin Stock talk about, crowded teeth, and it's all down to that formative years. I'm only 5'10", I'm not 6'2" or whatever. So I think it's so much more important than it's made out. The nutrition of children is just going the complete wrong way with the formula, and everything's just in a box. It's highly coloured, it's highly processed, loads of sugar, and there's no real food. I just think it's disheartening, actually, to be quite honest. So you're just a breath of fresh air, what you're going to do. And I just keep telling everybody, and, hopefully there'll be a sea change, and women will be more confident to listen to their body and make sense of what they're feeding their kids, and it won't be processed, and they'll put a bit of effort in. So, yeah, that's my rant over. Sorry about that.
And it's people always I think a lot of times people complain nowadays about, well, it's too expensive to eat this way. But I'm seeing a lot more content of people buying real whole food and making these like healthy meals and then comparing it to prices of ultra processed food. And it's really kind of comparable and sometimes less expensive to just eat real whole foods. And then what you're getting versus what you're getting if you save like $1 or whatever the difference is just, it's so much more nutritious and such a better option. So I'm really excited and happy to see content creators putting that type of effort in, of even like I'm seeing it with like non-carnivore people too, of just showing people eating it at home and making a meal at home versus eating out, and stuff like that, and just the importance of eating good food and that it's not expensive, because I feel like that's such a cop out of like, well, eating this way is too expensive. When you actually look at it and actually break it down, it's not. So I hope that gets debunked too, or we stop talking about that eventually.
So Richard's got a story about when he went to his daughter's school and did a speech, which is quite. Well, you tried to make a difference there, didn't you?
This was a talk that I gave. It wasn't to my daughter's school; it was to a different school. But yeah, I didn't use any. So basically, I was approached by a friend of mine who works for a local council or something, and they put me in contact with a school not far away. And I put a little presentation together in regards to healthy living, because the types of foods that they were feeding the children were chicken nuggets, with everything was breaded. It was bread with everything. There was no protein source that wasn't coated in bread or covered in some sort of sauce. So I put a little presentation together. No mention of carnivore, no mention of keto. It was to do with the damaging effects of wheat germ agglutinin from breads and grains, how detrimental certain phytic acids are in regards to absorption and their ability to block the absorption of other nutrients, and highlighting how important animal proteins were, and comparing the vitamin and mineral profile from plants to animal proteins. So no mention of keto, no mention of low carb, no mention of carb in general, no mention of carnivore. It was all to do with healthy living. But nothing changed. They weren't interested. I don't know why. I don't know if it was to do with cost, whether it just goes against the narrative. But I was incredibly careful not to use any of the keywords that would allow them to pull the plug, which shocked me, because if we can't make a change at that age, what can we do? And the difficult thing for me is knowing my little girl goes to school eating, the rubbish that they are putting out there. It's incredibly disheartening. I was also asked recently, this is going back last year, to do a talk in the NHS, to give a talk to the doctors and nurses within a local hospital. This whole event, this whole day was built around me going down and giving a presentation to the doctors. So they built all of these activities around it, with people going in with massage, Reiki healing, and all of these other things. And 2 days before the event, the guy that booked it for me, a friend of mine, phoned me and said that, I don't know how to say this, but you can't come. And I was like, what do you mean? They won't let you speak. And I was like, well, what are you talking about? And he said, because of who you are and what you do, they won't allow you to speak. And I said, but why? And it's because, I'm keto carnivore. But I said, well, this is not what I teach. I teach healthy living. I teach real food. I don't even mention the words keto or carnivore, even low carb. I'm always careful, especially when I'm around the medical community. But I was ostracized out of the day that was built for me. My friend of mine, he told me at a later date that basically, his boss had said that if I wanted to pay enough money, I could go in and say whatever I wanted to. But they pulled the plug on me speaking, because I pushed the ketogenic carnivore-based lifestyle. Everything is back to front. It's a massive uphill struggle. And I'll give you another story recently that I mentioned within the last 24 hours. I was at my local butcher's, and there were a few customers who came in and ordered lamb and asked for the fat to be cut off the lamb. So I asked if I could have the fat. I'm standing at the counter, and this lady who was considerably bigger than myself, and without being offensive, maybe 3 of me, and she asked me why I wanted the fat. So I explained about the benefits of fat, and how it's essential for health and well-being, the production of cholesterol, and the production of hormones, and how every cell in the body is made of fat, and the brain, and so on and so forth. And one of the parts that I mentioned was that how it helps with the production of hormones. She gave me a look that would kill, and stormed off in a temper. I think some people are so blinded by the narrative that they're not willing to open their eyes and see what's right in front of them. I was standing there with a friend of mine, both of us incredibly lean. Everyone else on the counter was at least twice my size. Yet, we are the weird ones who eat unhealthy when we are surrounded by people who are sick. And it's just disheartening when not only will they not listen, but they can't see quite literally what's right in front of them.
Yeah. I have a kind of similar with your daughter. My mom's mom, my grandma, she is in a senior living facility, memory care facility, because she has Alzheimer's and vascular dementia. And the stuff they feed them is insane. It's like straight sugar and sweets and breads, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. And the facility itself is a good place, the way they treat them, because it's really hard to get good senior care. I don't know if it is where you guys are, but in America, like if you just go with standard senior care, they mistreat seniors a lot, and it's just really gross how they treat seniors when it's provided by the state versus like private. And so the place itself treats her really well, but just their food is so bad, and like you can't do anything about it. Like you can't change it. It's just one of those things that you have to like accept and hope that one day, if we spread the information enough, it starts to organically grow and change the narrative in the mainstream, if that's even possible. But yeah, it's so crazy that from like the youngest people in our society to the oldest people in our society is just being so mistreated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It's awful. Sorry, I thought you were going to follow it up, Rich.
Sorry, yeah, you were in a daze. That I think that the final hour and a half is.
Yeah, I've gone, literally gone. My brain stopped working, I think.
I'm sorry, I'm not more interesting. I'm not keeping you guys awake.
Not at
You are very interesting. It's nothing to do with you. It's just, I think we were all questioned out, and it's been amazing. But like I say, we both struggled earlier on than we did last year. And I mean, I didn't sit down until hour 22 last year, and I was gone by hour 6. So I don't know what it is, why it was more stressy. But so, what's your long-term plan then? Is it to settle where you are, or come live back in America? What are you going to do?
Well, since my husband's military, we'll be leaving soon. Generally, if you're sent to Okinawa, you only stay for a few years and then you go on to the next place. So we will be leaving maybe like November, hopefully. So soon after I give birth, so we'll be flying back to the States with a tiny little baby. That'll be really interesting, and we're first-time parents, so fingers crossed that all works out. And we have a little puppy, so well, that'll probably be a little bit of a stressful day. And then we'll be going back to Washington, or we'll be going to Washington. We've never been there before. Washington State, on the West Coast, and we'll be there for a few years. And then depending on what trajectory my husband's career takes, we could go to a few different possible places from there. But our next stop is Washington. I'm super, super excited about that, because Okinawa is cool, but I do not want to live here any longer. We've been here almost 3 years now, and I am good to go back to the United States. I miss the United States so much.
What do you miss about it then?
The culture is just different. I am very much love my country. I mean, we talked about how I'm like rebellious earlier, but I'm very much have American rebellion in my blood. And the culture here is just they're very nice. They're very respectful. It's very safe, which is nice. Like we leave our front door unlocked when we leave the house. You can leave your stuff in public and no one takes it. But just it's very like compliant and just kind of like go with the flow and just go to work, go home, and nothing too exciting. And I feel like in America it's like more exciting and people are following their dreams and things are like you're getting crushed, but then other people are making it, and it's just like this roller coaster of emotions. And So much to do. Like there's not a lot to do here. We're on a very tiny island. It rains like every single day here almost. So if it's raining, there's not much to do. So we're excited to go back and have like places to go hiking, and we can drive to different states and see different things. Yeah, so it's just bigger, and we like the bigger, more exciting, like the dangerous freedom type of thing instead of like safe, what do you call it? Dangerous freedom versus like safe, whatever. I forget the saying.
Yes. Sedate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very laid back. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been to Japan, but not to an island. I went to Tokyo, but even there was very sedate, very calm and respectful. I mean, I liked it, but maybe I couldn't like it after like 2 weeks. Maybe I would have got bored with it, but I quite liked all the little sort of nodding and but everyone follows every single rule. One of the things that made me laugh, yeah, they do.
Rules are the rules. Yes. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, that is one thing. Me and my husband say that to each other all the time because we're like, the rules are the rules. You can't break the rules. And that's the mindset here of just like even if you go to a restaurant and you can't order like these are stupid like first world problem things, but like things we're used to as Americans. But you can't just go to a restaurant here and customize an order. Like say like, I want the number 2, but I want it without this and with this and with this. They'll look at you like you're crazy. It's like what's on the menu is what you get. You do not get to customize anything. So the restaurants that we go to, we have to be very careful with what we pick so I can eat. Because my husband doesn't have like food allergies and stuff like that. Like I do. I was gluten-free for 10 years before I went carnivore, and I will not ever eat gluten again. But yeah, the restaurants here, you can't like customize anything. Just the process of the way things happen here. It's just the rules are the rules. There's no bending the rules. There's no like speaking with your manager to get like, and then you get things like in the US. You could like say like, let me talk to your manager, and the manager will like comp your food or something if something goes wrong. Like that doesn't happen here.
Yeah.
So it's a bunch of first world stupid complainy things, but
Yeah.
I prefer American culture versus versus Japanese culture.
Yeah. And you're in a blue zone. I mean, you can't get any meat in a blue zone because it's vegetarian, isn't it? Uh,
No meat here. They hate meat here. Just joking.
There is a question in the chat also, Jessalyn, if you don't mind me asking. The question is, how long were you on a carnivore, I guess the carnivore diet before you fell pregnant? Did you have any metabolic issues or fertility issues prior to being carnivore?
Yeah, so I think I did. I didn't have any diagnosed issues, but I was carnivore for 4 years before I got pregnant, and me and my husband had been married for 4 years prior to that, so about 8 years total. And throughout our marriage, I was never on birth control. So, which is, it just seems like I should have gotten pregnant at some point after 8 years of being married with no birth control. So I think I did have fertility issues, and carnivore helped that. And then I was carnivore, like I said, for 4 years. And then I got pregnant, and it's been so smooth. So like no issues, no morning sickness, no weird cravings, none of the common awful pregnancy symptoms or anything like that. So I think that carnivore really did help a lot. And growing up, the reason I think I had fertility issues too is because I was put on birth control for my acne. And we know that birth control can really mess you up. When I talked about earlier how I had a really bad immune system growing up, I was sick all of the time, and my doctor would just constantly put me on a Z-Pack. We had this weird relationship. I remember with my childhood doctor, because I would constantly get like sore throats that would turn into a more serious issue. And I would just go into his office and he would see who it was and he would just write me a Z-Pack. And then I would walk out the door with my mom. And that was basically happened so many times in my childhood where I didn't even have to tell him anything. He just would like kind of see me and be like, oh, you're sick again? Okay, here's a Z-Pack. And so I was constantly on antibiotics. They put me on birth control, put me on Accutane for my acne too, which is not great. And I did it for the longest amount of time that you can do Accutane. So I'm sure that I had some really screwed up hormones and fertility issues. And I really do think that this way of eating helped heal all of that. And I think that my easy pregnancy so far has been a testament to how much my body has healed, because your body doesn't, women's bodies don't, and this is my first pregnancy too. And your bodies don't, or your body, oh my God, words, your body doesn't usually carry that pregnancy or continue to carry that pregnancy if it thinks you're unhealthy. And a lot of women suffer from miscarriages and stuff. And that was something I was really nervous about. And I waited a really long time to tell people that I was pregnant because I really thought I would have a miscarriage because of like my health issues and stuff in the past. But thankfully, no, it's been like so great. Like the worst thing that's happened to me is I feel really fat and and I don't like it. But if that's the worst thing I have to deal with, I'll deal with it.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I think you look absolutely glowing. I genuinely think that. I think you look really healthy and yeah, just glowing, which is a corny thing to say about somebody that's pregnant, but you literally glow with health and vitality. So that's amazing.
Yeah. I'm at the point where I'm like, I just feel super uncomfortable. And my belly's not even that big. It's getting a little bigger, but it's not super big. But I'm just still so uncomfortable all the time. I feel like a stuffed sausage.
So, are you sleeping okay? I mean, do you feel like you're getting the rest you need?
Well, um, I think I would, but we kind of shot ourselves in the foot and we got this puppy. So, we've been the potty training and stuff, and which we kind of thought, hey, we kind of thought, hey, let's get this puppy and we'll start to get in the mindset of having a baby and having to wake up and feed the baby and stuff like that. So we thought we were like jumping ahead of our like, ooh, we're gonna prepare. And he's really cute too. But so my sleep has been fine, other than just like having to get up and take him outside when he has to go to the bathroom. And then sometimes when I wake up and take him out, I'll have like a hard time falling back to sleep and I'll just feel like wide awake, which I think is kind of standard when you're pregnant, I guess. But it's not too bad. It's like normal being tired because you have a puppy type stuff. But I am napping too during the day. Like if I feel tired, like I need a nap, I will not restrict myself from taking a nap. I will go and take a nap.
Yeah, fantastic. There's another question that's popped up from Neville, who has been a fantastic supporter over this 24 hours. Carnivore diet for the puppy? Question mark.
No. So we're not doing like strict carnivore with him. We kind of rotate through like giving him ground beef, and then he'll kind of get tired of it and not want to eat it. And then we found these jerky things that are basically like air fried. It on the package it says it's like 93% meat, 7% like plant-based stuff that dogs can eat. And they're just like air fried jerky things. And that's the cleanest dog food that we found. So we'll rotate through that. And then when he gets tired of that, we'll go back to ground beef. So not strict raw or strict carnivore. But yeah. And we're not gonna do that for our son either. Like I'm having a boy. We're not gonna do strict carnivore. Like we'll give him fruit and stuff unless he starts to develop health issues or signs that he's getting like bad reactions. But yeah, we're not because I really do like I love carnivore, but I don't think everyone needs to do it. And I think that if you have health issues that it helps, that's amazing, like I did. But I don't think it's like a requirement for everyone. I don't have a problem with like seasonal eating and things like that. I'm not in the camp of like don't eat don't eat plants, don't ever eat any carbs or anything like that. Like I eat carbs and dairy and stuff. So I'm not super like hardcore carnivore.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right. I mean, the thing is, you're still going to be 95% ahead of everybody else. No, it's getting rid of the processed stuff, the seed oils, isn't it? And the process. Well, basically, rubbish breads and too much pasta or too much rice. I can't see you ever going down that route, to be honest. And you definitely won't have bread, will you? So, right.
No gluten.
Well,
Definitely no gluten. Cause do you guys, is glyphosate an issue where you guys are too, or is that just a US thing?
Yeah, that's an issue for us also. Yeah.
Okay. Because I've heard, because there's so many people who've told me when they find out that I was gluten free for 10 years before carnivore, is that my gut issues came from the glyphosate that is sprayed on bread, the stuff that makes bread, not the gluten. And I don't know. I have a hard time believing that because there's so many gluten free products that test higher for glyphosate than like gluten products. So I don't necessarily think. Or wait, does that confirm? Oh my gosh, pregnancy brain. So that would make it the glyphosate. So I do believe them, right? Oh my god.
So I think
You think I've been doing this 24?
I think they're both contributing factors, and the reason being is the grains. It isn't just the gluten. All grain contains wheat germ gluten, which causes intestinal permeability, which leads to autoimmune issues, which is where the acne and flare-ups and things would come from. But glyphosate, it blocks fructose. It creates fructose malabsorption. It blocks PEP, phosphoenol pyruvate, which is the output of fructose metabolism. So because fructose can't be metabolized properly, it ends up building up in the lower gut and causes gastro issues. And we know that it's harmful to the gut. It blocks the shikimate pathway, which is how we create neurotransmitters. So I think they're both to blame. I don't think one is over the other, but wheat germ gluten in particular and gluten, detrimental. I don't think that's ever a compound that is innocent in regards to health and well-being. It's definitely a massive contributing factor, but glyphosate very much so also.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot more health accounts that aren't carnivore go gluten free and not, because it used to be like uncool to be gluten free because it got so popular, like kind of how carnivore is becoming uncool now because it's getting more popular. So you have more haters coming out of the woodworks making fun of carnivores, eating on wooden cutting boards and stuff.
yeah.
But when I went gluten free, oh my gosh, like 2010 or something like that, and a long time ago, before it was like a cool thing to do, or right on the cusp, right before it became like a cool thing to do, and right before everything, there was a lot of gluten-free options. And then when it became kind of a trend, everyone started making fun of it, and it became like just this thing that like rich people and and but now I'm starting to see more and more accounts take it seriously, that are like health accounts and like men's fitness accounts and stuff too that are like, I'll never eat gluten, like I'm just gonna do gluten free, which I think is really huge. Sorry for the chaos over here.
What is the name of that dog treat? Because I have some kind of I can't read that. I have some kind of doggy, and the only meat I can get him to eat is pork sausages, which isn't good for him because they're not good for with fat. So what's the name of the dog treats? That's basically what that person's saying.
The food, is it the food that I feed my dog? Is that the question?
Yeah, you said you got some treats. Do you have a name for those treats?
Jerky, it might not be available outside of Japan.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Store, and all the writing is in Japanese, and we have to
All right.
we had to translate it. I don't, so I don't know off the top of my head what it's called. I can go look if you want me to. If you want to go look.
Yeah, good then. Yeah, yeah, get a box. Let's have a look. It's probably called Hacho Habato or something.
Okay.
Look at that blue sky. She says it rains all the time.
Today. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
looks
rained
good.
earlier today.
Oh, did it? Okay.
It'll come and go, but when the sun is out, like, you have to take advantage of it, because then an hour later it'll be like rainy. Okay, let's see. It's called Absolute Holistic. Okay, so it is in English. It's called Absolute Holistic Air Dried food, beef and hoki,
Okay.
natural complete dog food.
Excellent. Yeah. I mean, I think you can get a higher.
Japanese.
I think you can get a higher percentage in the UK because we've got a raw carnivore dog, but the treats are those sort of things, those sticks of jerky. But I think they're 100% beef. I could be wrong, but that's brilliant.
Those ones are 93, so they're not full meat.
That's not bad, is it?
Yeah, I didn't think so, and he likes it. He responds well to it. His poops are nice and healthy.
Right. Well, Jessalyn, you've gone over your time because we were doing 45 minutes with everyone. So I just want to thank you. Unless you've got anything else you want to tell everybody.
No, I think that was fun. I'm sorry you guys are. I hope you guys can pull through and finish this, and I hope I was a little interesting to keep you guys awake for 45 minutes.
Most definitely. Yeah. Massive help in the final straight, I think now, Steve, isn't it? 1 hour to go. Yeah.
I feel ever so rude now, but I am absolutely shattered. Honestly, as soon as we've finished, I will be straight to sleep. And then I've got a football thing at 11 o'clock, so I've only got an hour sleep. So, but it's been brilliant, and I'm glad we finished with you because you're such fun, and it's just perfect, really.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun. Of course, obviously, I like talking, so thanks for inviting me so I could talk.